One of my favorite monsters in D&D is the Doppelganger. Just like the Changeling, I love the idea of a creature that can change its appearance to look like anyone around them. The idea of a threat that could be anywhere, could be a stranger on the street, or could be your closest friend, and you'd have no idea. I find it really intriguing. Introducing this to your D&D games would put doubt into the party in who they're talking to for the rest of their adventures, whether they're talking to the real person or whether they're talking to a doppelganger, or at the very least still sow doubt until they get access to True Sight. Doppelgangers are challenge rating 3 medium monstrosities. This means that if you want an equal-sized party of doppelgangers, a party of 4 will need to be at least level 7 for it not to be a deadly encounter. Doppelgangers have bonuses to deception and insight, cannot be charmed, and of course, dark vision. Their staple ability is shape changer. This allows the doppelganger to, shape change into any small or medium humanoid it has seen in the past. The game uses the word polymorph, but unlike the spell polymorph, this doesn't change any of their stats. They also do extra damage on surprised creatures and can read other creatures' surface thoughts. This could actually be useful for them to determine who finds them suspicious and then take them out or switch into a new disguise. The doppelganger often works alone, but honestly, I find it way more interesting when they're working in groups. Think of the Skrulls from Marvel, a secret society of people who are undetectable and are able to take the position of the most powerful people in competing societies. Even if you kill them all, how will you ever know? This is the best part of the shapeshifter, as they are capable of announcing their presence, leaving silently, and then causing a distrusting society to destroy itself from the inside. Now, how do we do this in D&D? For the opening adventure, I would suggest having doppelgangers come into the city pretending to be the party and causing havoc and mayhem and absolutely ruining the party's reputation. For your first session, you don't necessarily have to know exactly why your doppelgangers are doing what they're doing. As long as you know what they're doing and a couple leads that the party could take to start figuring things out, that's all you need. If the party go further than you expected, you can either sideline them with something else to fill that session until you have time to figure out what's actually going on, or just improv it and live with the consequences. Running a whole mystery is its own video, so at some point in the future, I'll do that. The first thing you want to do is make sure your game has a place where the party returns to. A place where the party has allies, a reputation that they would hopefully like to uphold. Since they're adventurers, they probably have a certain amount of respect in the society, and maybe at least a certain social class of the society. For me, I am running a Strixhaven game, which is a magical university. This is great for me because not only is it a place that they have to always be at, but it's also a place where they need to have a good reputation. The next thing you might want to do is give them a reason to leave this place for a little bit of time. It should span for a couple of days, enough time where they couldn't really predict anything changing, but if nefarious things were happening, things could obviously change. For my Strixhaven game, my entire group happened to choose to be part of the Dragon Chess Club, so I made a Dragon Chess tournament arc for them to go on while I was doing nefarious stuff on the side within the school. This pulled them far enough away where, in theory, anything could be happening at the school, and they wouldn't know until they got back. Now, when they do eventually return, make sure to point out how people are acting different. Maybe they're just more distant. Maybe their friends aren't hanging out with them or talking to them anymore. Somehow, they've gone from heroes to outcasts. Now, to me, this is the most important part. Don't lead the party in any direction to investigate what's going on. Let them remain unsure as things get worse, which will eventually force them to get creative to find ways to stop this. For my game, I was lucky that Strixhaven comes with a list of things that people will do if they don't like you, so I just introduced those into the game. When people are blocking off your dorm with cabinets that you're not strong enough to move, or putting up graffiti that's insulting you and your family, you're going to want to do something about it. This is going to require some improv from you as the DM, and if you struggle with this, you can do what I did and have a bunch of different ways that the party could get information already prepared. If they end up doing something completely different than what you had ready, you just take the information that you're going to use if they went this way and put it into this new thing. This does mean that what happens next is very determinate on your world and what your players do, but you can still prepare for the reveal. The moment the party sees firsthand that there are creatures out there wearing their faces. Do you want this to be a combat, where they have to fight the creatures that look just like them? Or maybe the monsters will try to run off and disappear into the crowd, pretending to be just a random citizen, and let the threat happen again another day. Depending on your party, you might not have a choice. For me, I chose to have the doppelgangers retreat outside of Strixhaven for the party to have to fight them off the school grounds, which they're not allowed to go to. I made this choice because the only people who knew there were people wearing the party's faces were the party. None of the NPCs had figured this out. This meant that for my game, it would be harder for them to clear their names, as exposing that they went to this place they're not allowed to go to could land them in more trouble. Now, that's probably not going to help you at all unless you're also running a game in a magic school setting, but consider that when a doppelganger dies, it returns to its original faceless form. Unless there are people that saw both the doppelganger version of the person and the person, they're not going to have any concrete proof that they didn't do any of the things that the doppelganger did. In fact, all they proved is that they have the bodies of doppelgangers, which could be enough for some NPCs who originally trusted the party, but not enough for people who didn't really know them that well. Whether or not the doppelgangers are killed or if they escape, you now get to decide whether this is going to be the party's main mission to focus for the next couple sessions on where they came from, if they're still coming after them, if there's more of them, or if this is just going to be a new threat the party needs to be hyper aware of from now on. The party also has a say in this, but often they're just going to act off of information that you give them at the end of the encounter. If you're giving them more information and clues about what's going on after they've defeated the doppelganger, they're going to assume that you've prepared the story for them to go and learn more about it, so they're going to. If you don't give them anything at all, they're probably going to assume that there's nothing more to learn right now and come back to it if it happens to come up again. It's possible that a party with leads won't want to follow them, or a party without leads might try to figure out ways to get a lead. This is why I only ever create general overviews of my campaign and then write session by session instead of having everything planned out ahead of time. This way it's more easy for me to react to what my players are doing instead of having to force my players into the path I've pre-prepared. Now, congratulations, you now have a monster that the party will always be wary of, and you can bring them back whenever you want and take them out whenever you want. Replace the party's favorite innkeeper with a doppelganger. Replace the king with a doppelganger. Maybe even replace a member of the party if they're okay with that. Doppelgangers are a really creative enemy, and I hope you can come up with more creative uses for them than I did. Just remember that these monsters don't really work once the party gets access to True Sight, so prepare for these guys to basically become a non-threat around level 11. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it and you want to see more like it, click that subscribe button to be updated when I upload more videos. However, this week I'm going to be going on a work trip, and then right after that I'm going to be moving, so I might not have enough time to release a video next week. In fact, I probably won't have enough time. If you see a video come out next week, know I'm overworking myself for you guys. So if it's bad, it's still my fault, but try to appreciate it. Anyways, once that's over, I'll be ready to more focus on this, or at least hopefully I'll have more time to focus on this. We'll see how things go. Life always seems to get in the way. Thank you again for watching. This is the end of the video.